Have you ever felt that nagging frustration? When you try to build a good habit or maybe break a bad one and it just, well, it doesn't stick.
Oh,
So you
absolutely.
start out really strong, right? Then life gets in the way and suddenly you're kind of back where you started. It's really common.
It really is. And it can feel like a personal failing, but honestly, it's such a universal experience. We all get the desire for change, but actually making it last,
Mm.
that often feels
Yeah.
slippery.
Yeah, elusive is a good word.
And it turns out it's often less about pure willpower than we tend to think it is.
Exactly. Which is precisely why today we're doing a deep dive into a book that offers this really practical, actionable way through that challenge. It's James Clear's Atomic Habits, Building Better Systems for Life Change.
A fantastic book.
It really is. So our mission here is basically to unpack the most potent bits of knowledge, the key takeaways from this book, really give you, our listener, a shortcut to understanding its core ideas.
And what's so, I think, revolutionary about Clear's approach is this central idea, the power of compounding. It's how these tiny, almost invisible changes, his atomic habits, they don't just add up, they multiply over time.
Right. So it's not about these huge, daunting transformations that fizzle out. It's
Ah,
more about the surprising impact of small, sustainable improvements day after day building on each other.
exactly.
Yeah.
Small wins creating big momentum.
Okay, so let's get into it. How does James Clear actually suggest we do this? He lays out this framework, right? The 4 laws of behavior change.
That's the core. Yeah. It's a beautifully simple framework, but really effective for both building the habits you want and, just as importantly, taking apart the ones you don't.
Okay, let's tackle building the good ones first. Law number 1 is make it obvious. What's the thinking there? How do we make a habit obvious?
Well, think of your environment as like a hidden director of your behavior. The
Yeah.
idea is you design your space, your surroundings, so the cues for your good habits are just
Yeah.
right there, unavoidable almost.
So his example, if you want to read more, literally put the book on your pillow.
Exactly. Or on the kitchen counter where you make coffee. Make the cue visible, and the habit becomes much harder to just, ignore or forget.
That really clicks for me. It sounds simple, but I can see how easy it is to overlook, to not consciously design that environment.
That's the key. People often rely on memory, or that finite willpower we mentioned. Clear says make the right action the easy action, starting with the cue.
Makes total sense. Okay, law 2, make it attractive. This sounds like tapping into motivation. How do we make, say, flossing attractive?
Huh. Well, maybe not flossing itself, but you leverage desire. You link the habit you need to do with something you genuinely want to do. He calls it temptation bundling.
Okay.
So, for example, maybe you only get to listen to your favorite podcast or your guiltiest pleasure music while you're exercising.
Okay. So the workout becomes the gateway to the thing you actually look forward to.
Precisely. It builds this positive association in your brain.
Yeah.
You start craving the workout because it means you get the reward.
I like that. It's like a little mental hack. All right, law 3, make it easy. This one feels intuitive. Reduce the friction.
It's exactly that.
Yeah.
Make the habit require as little effort as possible. Think about drinking more water. If the goal is hydration, just keep a full water bottle on your desk. Always there.
Yeah.
Always within reach.
Yeah.
Removing even 1 or 2 small steps, like having to get up and walk to the kitchen and find a glass, can make a huge difference in whether you actually do it consistently.
Totally. If the effort is low enough, it almost happens on autopilot. My willpower definitely tanks after, the first hurdle.
We all experience that. It connects back to environment design, too.
Right. And the final one for building good habits, law 4, make it satisfying. This must be about reward, right?
Yeah.
Our brains love rewards.
Absolutely. You need some kind of immediate payoff, even a small one. It tells your brain, hey, that was good, let's do it again. So checking off a habit on a tracker immediately after you do it, that little dopamine hit of seeing progress reinforces the behavior.
That feeling of accomplishment, even if it's just a check mark.
Exactly. It closes the feedback loop and makes you want to repeat the action.
Okay, so obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying. That's the roadmap for building good habits. Now about the flip side, those pesky bad habits we want to ditch. Does he just invert these laws?
He does, very elegantly. The same logic applies, just in reverse. So the opposite of make it obvious is make it invisible.
Meaning get rid of the triggers, remove the cues.
Spot on. If you're trying to eat less junk food, you don't just rely on willpower when you see cookies on the counter. You make the cookies invisible, get them out of the house.
Or unfollow those tempting food accounts on Instagram.
Perfect example. Eliminate the cue, reduce the craving. Then, for make it attractive, the inverse is make it unattractive.
How do you do that? Focus on the downsides.
Yes, but more actively. Reframe how you think about the negative consequences. So instead of just knowing smoking is bad, you actively remind yourself, maybe even visualize how it damages your lungs, affects your breathing, ages your skin, connected to immediate, visceral downsides.
Shifting the focus from that immediate gratification to the real cost. Okay. And for make it easy, the inverse is make it difficult. Add friction back in.
Correct. Increase the number of steps between you and the bad habit. If you're trying to cut down on screen time, maybe leave your phone in another room after 9 p.m.
Or delete those delivery apps if you're trying to stop ordering impulsive takeaways.
Exactly. Make it inconvenient to slip up. Introduce barriers.
Love it. And finally, the opposite of make it satisfying must be make it unsatisfying. How does that work? Add a penalty.
Pretty much. Introduce an immediate consequence for the bad habit. Clear talks about having an accountability partner. Maybe you have to pay them, say, 100 every time you skip a workout you're committed to.
Ouch.
Yeah, the pain, even if small, needs to be immediate to counteract any pleasure the bad habit might give.
Oh.
It creates a negative feedback loop.
These laws, they're just so logical. But the book offers more than just this four-step framework, right? There's some other really key ideas.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the most powerful, I think, is the concept of 1% improvement. It sounds small, insignificant even.
Right, 1% better. What difference does that make?
Well, compounded daily, it makes a huge difference. Getting just 1% better each day means you're like 37 times better by the end of the year. It's exponential growth from tiny, consistent effort. It shifts focus to the long game.
That's wild when you think about it like that. It connects to another big idea he stresses. Focus on systems, not goals. We hear so much about setting goals.
And goals are fine. They give you direction. But Clear argues that it's the systems, the daily processes, the routines that actually drive progress. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems.
So the goal is the what, but the system is the how, and the how is what matters day to day.
Precisely. A good system makes progress almost inevitable.
He also introduces identity-based habits, which I found really fascinating. This idea of shifting from what you want to do to who you want to be.
Yes, this is maybe the deepest level. Instead of thinking, I want to run, you start thinking, I am a runner. Every run then becomes an act of reinforcing that identity.
So the habit isn't just an action, it's like evidence proving your identity to yourself.
Exactly. And that makes it much stickier, much more meaningful than just chasing an outcome. It becomes about embodying who you are.
Which also links to another point. Environment matters more than willpower. We touched on this with the first law, but it seems like a core theme.
It's fundamental. We often blame ourselves, our lack of willpower, when really our environment is setting us up to fail. Optimizing your space, your social circles, your digital world to support your habits is often far more effective than just trying harder.
Relying less on discipline and more on design.
You got it.
Okay, and practically speaking, he offers techniques too, like habit stacking. What's that one?
It's a really simple, clever strategy. You anchor a new habit you want to build onto an existing one you already do automatically.
How does that work?
The formula is basically, after I current habit, I will new habit. So after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute, or after I take off my work shoes, I will change into my workout clothes.
Using the momentum of the old habit to launch the new one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It piggybacks on established routines.
Smart. And lastly, there's the Goldilocks rule. Sounds like finding the perfect balance.
That's the essence. Habits need to be challenging enough to stay interesting, to keep you engaged, but not so difficult that you get discouraged and quit.
Not too hard, not too easy.
But just right. Finding that sweet spot of manageable difficulty is key for long-term consistency. You want to feel challenged, but also capable of success.
Okay, so we've unpacked quite a bit. For someone listening now, maybe thinking this sounds really useful, what are the main strengths of the book itself?
Well, number one is definitely its clarity. The language is super simple, very accessible, no dense jargon. It translates complex psychology into easy-to-understand terms.
Yeah, very readable.
And it's incredibly actionable. It's not just theory. It's packed with practical steps, templates, examples. Plus, it's grounded in science psychology, neuroscience. But wears it lightly, you know. It feels credible without being academic.
And it seems really flexible too, right? Applicable to work, health, learning.
Totally. Personal life, professional goals, study habits. The framework applies across the board.
So who specifically would get the most out of this deep dive or reading the book? Who are we talking to?
Honestly, almost anyone trying to improve something. But specifically, maybe students wanting better focus, professionals trying to be more productive, anyone stuck in routines they don't like.
Or people trying to quit specific things, procrastination, smoking, mindless scrolling.
Exactly. If you've ever found yourself setting a goal and then somehow not following through, this provides a system to actually bridge that gap.
No, it's a hugely popular book, but no book is perfect. Are there common criticisms or weaknesses people mention about Atomic Habits?
Yeah, there are a few things that sometimes come up. Some readers find certain ideas a bit repetitive, maybe stretched out with lots of examples reinforcing the same core point.
Okay, fair enough.
And it's definitely not a magic wand. Anyone expecting, instant life transformation overnight might feel let down because it really emphasizes gradual, incremental change. It takes time and consistency.
Right, it's about the long haul, not a quick fix.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And maybe for people who've read a lot of self-help, some concepts might feel familiar, perhaps like refined common sense.
So managing expectations is key. It's a system for steady progress, not a bolt of lightning. Given that, what's the overall verdict? How does it stand up?
Oh, overwhelmingly positive. I mean, the global ratings are consistently high, like 4.8 out of 5. It's widely seen as one of the most practical, genuinely useful self-help books in recent years.
Because it focuses on the how.
Yes, it's less about temporary motivation and more about building this robust structure, this system, where if you apply it, success becomes, well, almost the default outcome. It helps turn intention into actual behavior.
So summing it up, Atomic Habits offers this really solid, practical toolkit for real, lasting change. It's all about harnessing the power of those tiny, consistent actions and designing systems smartly.
Making success feel less like a struggle and more like an inevitability.
Which leaves us with a really interesting thought for you, the listener, to maybe chew on.
hmm
How might things change if you shifted your focus, not just on what you want to achieve, the outcomes, but on who you want to become? How could focusing on your identity transform your whole approach to personal growth?
Yeah, it's a powerful question. Moving from outcome-based to identity-based habits.
Yeah, something to definitely reflect on as you think about your own habits and systems.